Okay, so hello YouTube and welcome to this tutorial in which I am going to show you how to host your private Git repository in your favorite cloud service. In my case, it's going to be OneDrive, but you can also do this with GoogleDrive or Dropbox or whatever service you're using. The only thing you need is to have the client application of your service. So in my case, I have the OneDrive application, and I think that the Google Drive and Dropbox also have their own application that runs on Windows and Mac and Linux. And these applications actually mount your remote cloud folders into your local file system so that you can access them really easily. Now, so you can see here that this is my mounted folder. This OneDrive is actually my remote folder in OneDrive in my account. So if I just go here, let me show you. If I go to my OneDrive account, I should have this folder here. So it's this one, and if I go inside, there is this folder here, and here we see it. So these two places are actually the same and are being synced with each other. So I'm just gonna close this, and I am now going to start by creating a new empty Git repository inside this folder here so it can be synced with my OneDrive account. And after that, I will have a empty repository which I can clone it. So I'm going to clone this repository into my desktop here, and then I'm going to create some files, make some changes, commit them, and push them back to my Git repository in my OneDrive account. And to prove that everything actually worked perfectly, we are going to clone that Git repository again into our desktop, and we should be able to see the changes that we've made earlier. So let's get started. And I'm inside this folder, so I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to call it just Git. So this little icon you see here, it means it's been synced with the remote folder. So I need to go inside. I'm gonna open up a Git bash, and I'm gonna create or initialize a new Git repository. And you do this by typing git init bear. Now, if you're using Git, you might be familiar with the git init command, but the bear switch actually changes the behavior of the git init. Because when you do the bear switch, you're actually telling Git to create a repository and not a working directory. And let me show you what a repository is, because there is a difference between a repository and a working directory. So a repository is actually the internal Git database. So a repository is these files and folders here, and Git uses this to track your changes and do the source control. So inside the repository, you will not see your folders or files or your code. You'll only see the internal Git database, but when you actually clone the repository into a working directory, you can then see your files and your code. So now that all our files have been synced with our OneDrive account, so let me just check this. So inside my tab folder, I have a test Git, and inside it I have this folders here, which is good. Now, I have an empty repository in here, so I should be able to clone it using Git. So I'm going to close this one. I'm going to bring up a Git bash in my desktop and just do a Git clone. Now, I am going to clone from this folder, and for this you need to write this syntax file : / slash. It's actually 3, not 4, not 2, it's 3 slashes. and then C users, my username, OneDrive, and dev and test. So this path actually points to a Git repository, so it makes perfect sense to clone it. So if I clone this, I should have this new folder here, which reflects what's in the repository. Now there is nothing in here because I had an empty repository, but we can already see that there is the Git folder, which is hidden by default. So now what we're going to do is going to make some changes in here. So I'm going to bring up my Sublime text, open up this folder, create a new file, and maybe type in some lorem stuff. Okay, I'm going to save this to hello.txt. So now we should have this file inside our folder. Now if I go to my test Git folder, we can see here the master, which means it's being controlled by Git, and we are going to type in Git status. So Git actually says that there is a file which is untracked, so we need to add it to the index. So we're going to type in git add hello.txt. So now if we do a git status, our file is in the index and ready to be committed. So we are going to commit this change. The message is going to be commit, and if you do a git log here, we can see that we have our initial commits. Now we are going to push those changes to our remote repository, and for this it's actually really easy. You just do git push origin master. Now if you're familiar with Git, again, you should understand what this does, but yeah, basically this actually pushes the master branch to the origin repository, if this makes sense for you. Anyway, so if I push these, then I should be able to see that there is some changes in here that's been synced. So the internal Git database has been changed because we've added some files. And now that everything has been synced, we're going to delete this folder. I'm going to close this one, delete this folder. Actually, I need to close my Sublime text because it locks the folder. Okay, now if we clone our local repository again, we should be able to see the new added file, which is hello.txt. Now I'm going to do a git clone file, again, column, 3 slashes, C users, my username, OneDrive, dev, and test. So this is a Git repository. You're going to clone it, and we should be able to see our file, which is right here, and it's got the lorem ipsum stuff, which is cool. Now that means that everything is working pretty much. We can even do a git log. You can see that there is our commit here, initial commit. So we just did everything and it worked perfectly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is how you host your private repository in your cloud. Now there is a lot of reasons why you would want to do this, but primarily I do it because I actually use GitHub to host my repositories, but the free plan in GitHub doesn't allow you to have private repositories. So if this is some kind of problem for you, if you need to have private repositories, then this method should suffice for you and should really be what you're looking for. So I hope you like this tutorial, and thank you for watching.